At this point, we're getting pretty good at drawing free body diagrams and determining net forces. We first worked on horizontal surfaces, then we learned how to do vertical situations where the objects were falling. In this tutorial, we're going to consider vertical situations again, but in this case, the objects aren't falling. Let's consider a book on a table. The book weighs 5 newtons. The free body diagram would include, gravity pointing down, 5 newtons, and, there must be some other force on this book, as our free body diagram is the exact same as if it was a falling book. And we know that the book isn't falling, it's just sitting there on the table. So where is this other force coming from? It must be from the table. If we removed the table, the book would surely fall. So the table is opposing the force of gravity by keeping the book from falling to the ground. The force that the table is providing we call the normal force. Since the book is clearly balanced, sitting there and not moving, the forces must be balanced as well. Therefore, we know that the normal force must be 5 newtons up to balance out with the gravitational force of 5 newtons down. Therefore, the net force would be 0. The forces are all balanced and the book continues to just sit there. If you're standing on the ground is providing a normal force pushing you up. If you weigh 500 newtons, your free body diagram would include the gravity pulling you down and the normal force provided by the ground pushing back up. And the normal force would be 500 newtons. Therefore, your net force would be 500 newtons down minus 500 newtons up, or a net force of 0. Your forces would be balanced, and you'd be able to just stand there. If you're sitting in a chair, the chair is providing a normal force on you, pushing you back up. If you weighed 600 newtons, your free body diagram would include the gravity pulling you down and the normal force, in this case provided by the chair, pushing back up. And the chair would provide a normal force of 600 newtons, so that your net force could be 600 newtons down minus 600 newtons up, or 0. Again, your forces are balanced and you're able to sit there in the chair. Take a moment to look around you. All those items sitting on the ground, or on tables, or on bookshelves, all have a normal force keeping them from falling towards the center of the earth. If you put something on a table that is too heavy, that is, the table isn't strong enough to provide the required normal force to balance it out, then the table will break and it'll all fall towards the ground. Any table or shelf that's not breaking is able to provide the normal force required to balance the forces and make F net equal to 0. As we've seen, normal forces in most cases simply oppose gravitational forces, but you can create an exception to this. Let's go back to our 5 Newton book just sitting on the table. Now what if you pushed down on the book with an extra force of 10 newtons? Then the free body diagram would have an extra force. We'd have the force of gravity and the normal force, but now this extra force of 10 newtons pushing down. Now if the book continued to be held up by the table, that is, it could handle all these forces, the normal force would have to balance out both of the forces pushing down. So we have 5 newtons down, the force of gravity, but then an extra 10 newtons down, and those we can add for a total of 15 newtons pushing down. So, for F net to be 0, the normal force in this case would now have to be 15 newtons pushing back up. The normal force will continue to increase as needed until it reaches a force that it can't handle. Then, the table will break and everything will fall to the ground. In this tutorial, we were introduced to normal forces. Now, normal forces are simply forces that hold things up. Normal forces are provided by the ground or tables or bookshelves or your hand or anything else that's strong enough to oppose the gravitational force on an object. We also looked at a case where the normal force not only had to oppose the gravitational force, but also had to oppose an extra force that was being added to the object.
To watch more of these valuable videos, click subscribe button, and join Stills and Moves.